What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. We got a lot to cover today, but first off, let's start with the highlight of my show today, NBA mock draft. NBA draft is Thursday night, so we're going to do our mock draft first. We're going to do the first 14 picks, so we're going to do the lottery, starting out with the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic have the first overall pick. I have been taking Chet Holmgren, power forward center out of Gonzaga. A lot of people are saying that they may take Jabari Smith, but I agree that they can't go wrong with any of the three big men, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero. I think all three are extremely talented. All three are big guys, 6'10", 6'11", 7 feet tall. I think all are very, very good players. But I actually have Chet Holmgren going number one to the Orlando Magic. I just think that Chet Holmgren, he's a big, tall. He's 7 feet tall, and he can shoot the ball. Big guys that can shoot are definitely in demand, and they're definitely huge weapons on the basketball court. And all three of these guys, Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero, can all do so. But I'm not as high on Jabari Smith as some other people are. I think Holmgren, is a little bit better. I know he's a little bit slim. He may need to beef up a little bit. I don't know how he'll do, against these other bigger, stronger big guys like Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, maybe Giannis, especially Giannis, because Giannis is built like a brick house. But I think Chet Holmgren is a better overall prospect. I think he's got a higher ceiling, although Jabari Smith may be able to produce right away a little bit more than Chet Holmgren, and as well as Paolo Banchero. That being said, the Orlando Magic are in a rebuild, and they're not really worried about right now. They just don't have the team right now to really compete. They're worried about what's going on down the road. So I think they'll go for the guy who I think has a higher ceiling. They may not be able to produce right away, as well as Jabari Smith. Pat Jack in the chat just said, Holmgren has the heart report thing looming. If the Magic take him, I'm sure it's the wrong pick. Ooh, Patrick, are you saying he has the heart report? Does that mean like a heart problem he's got, or something else? Because I think all three of the big guys, I think, are clear the top three guys in this draft. I think there's a lot of very good players in the draft, but I think the top three are pretty clear. Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero, and not necessarily in that order, but those I think are the top three. Oh, Patrick just said, I saw you skipped a medical report, or he didn't release it, and that's interesting. I wonder why he wouldn't do that. I'm not sure if he was trying to hide something. He doesn't want teams to know. He doesn't want to affect his draft stock. I don't think that would make a lot of sense. His tax returns. I don't think that'll make a lot of sense for him, because it's one thing if a guy's like one of those like mid to late first round picks, you don't want to like drop into the second round. But Chet Holmgren was a top three player in this draft. I don't really think that would affect him too much. He's still gonna either way. He's gonna be in the top five, probably in the top three. I actually have him going number one to the Orlando Magic. Second overall is the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's where I have Jabari Smith going, power forward out of Auburn. He averaged almost 70 points a game at Auburn last year. Big guy that can shoot. Patrick just wrote the Magic could have picks 1 through 10 and still be terrible. You're probably right. Yeah, they are very bad. Like, they got some young players over there. They got a couple of young guards I like. I like Cole Anthony. I really like Jalen Suggs, who I didn't love what he did his rookie year, but I do think he's very talented. I liked him at Gonzaga a couple years ago. Yeah, Franz Wagner, I think, is a very good young player. I thought he performed well as a rookie. They got a couple of big guys. Wendell Carr's a guy who has looked better than he did in Chicago and Orlando. He's pretty good. I don't love Mo Bamba. He's getting better shooting the basketball, which is a big plus, but he just hasn't really produced to the level that he did at the University of Texas, which is why he was a top 10 pick a few years back. I think Chet Holmgren is definitely a large upgrade over Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba. This is Oklahoma City Thunder. I got them taking Jabari Smith. Oklahoma City is another rebuilding team. Obviously, they have a myriad of draft picks over the next few years. They also have another first round pick later in this draft. They got number 12. We'll get to that pick in a little bit. But second overall, I think they go big guy. They got a couple of young guys I like. They got two really good young guards I like in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as well as Josh Giddey. When healthy, those two guys could be an excellent young backcourt. I also like, when healthy, Luguentz Dort. I really like him. They have a big guy that I like in the guy Pokusevski, but they could use one more big guy, and I do think Jabari Smith is better than Pokusevski, so they go to Jabari Smith second overall. Third overall is the Houston Rockets. I'm hearing they are infatuated with Polo Banchero, and he's there for them, so that's who I think they go with. A power forward center out of Duke, 6'10". I think he's going to be a great player. Another big guy that can shoot in this draft. Rockets guy, very good young guard, Jalen Green, who you drafted second overall last year. Don't have too much besides that. They just traded Christian Wood to the Dallas Mavericks. They had a draft pick, and they had a couple of other role players, including Boban Marjanovic, but Boban's more of a backup than a starter, so. And Alfred Sengun, these other guys they got don't really impress me, so. Paul Banchero, definitely a large upgrade down low for them, so I got the Rockets going with Polo Banchero third overall. Fourth overall is the Sacramento Kings. I actually have the Kings taking Keegan Murray, a power forward out of Iowa. He's a really good player. He's another bigger guy that can shoot. I know some people thought it would be Jaden Ivey, who probably deserves to be in the top four. That being said, Kings have two really good young guards already. They got De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell. I could see them trading De'Aaron Fox this offseason, but we haven't heard too much on that front, so until we do, obviously the draft is in 2 days. So until we hear anything more about De'Aaron Fox possibly being dealt, they are set at guard for now. And, down low, they're not quite as set, so I got them going power forward. They take Keegan Murray out of Iowa. Then at fifth overall, I have the Detroit Pistons taking Jaden Ivey. Definitely the best guard in this draft. Can play point guard or shooting guard. Best guard in this draft. Detroit's got some young players. Of course, they took Cade Cunningham, who's a guard with the first overall pick last year. Got some other guys that I like. They got Sadiq Bey, who's a small forward who can really shoot. They got Jeremy Grant, who's a very good player. Power forward. He's a really good scorer. I think an underrated player. They got a couple big guys I like. They do have Marvin Bagley, who's a guy who's been a major disappointment, being a second overall pick by the Kings. I thought played a lot better after he came over in a trade from the Pistons. Isaiah Stewart's a guy who's got some talent. So I don't think they really needed another big guy. They got two youngsters that I think we'll see some decent playing time next year. Plus, they got Jeremy Grant. But they could use another guard. They do have Killian Hayes still there, but he really has not been very impressive since they took him as a pretty high draft pick a couple years ago. So I think they take more of a sure thing in Jaden Ivey. And him and Cade Cunningham could be a dynamic duo in their backcourt. Sixth overall is the Indiana Pacers. Indiana is tough to see what direction they could go because you look at some of the guys on their roster. It doesn't look like they have too many holes. You got Malcolm Brogdon and Tyrese Halliburton. You also have some guys like Buddy Hield. You got Miles Turner at center, but a lot of these guys are not going to be on the team. I think they're going to trade Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner this offseason. I could see that happening, possibly even Buddy Hield. So Indiana definitely is a team that's going to be going into a rebuild. And Dyson Daniels is one of the best players in this draft. He's a point guard. He's 6'6". He's a big point guard. I'm sure can also play shooting guard. He's playing in the G League Ignite League. We've seen some players come out of this league. Jalen Green is one that definitely comes to mind. Second overall pick by the Rockets last year. This Ignite League is gained a lot of popularity. Although the traditional college route, I think will always reign supreme. This G League Ignite program, I think, is always going to be an outlet for these kids coming out of high school, and you've seen some guys have some success in this program. So I got Dyson Daniels going 6th overall to the Indiana Pacers. Him and Tyler Halliburton could be a very talented young guard duo. 7th overall is the Portland Trailblazers. I was thinking maybe they could go for a guard here. We don't know what's going on with Damian Lillard, but I think Damian Lillard should request a trade. I can see them looking to trade him. They definitely don't want to, but Dame might be like, what the heck's going on? He traded everyone this past year. But as of right now, he is still there. They do have Anthony Simons, who played well last year, a young guard. You got Josh Hart as well. But when it comes to having forwards and big guys, they're not as set as they are with guard, because right now, like I said, they still have Damian Lillard, who, when healthy, is one of the league's best point guards. And then you got Anthony Simons, who's another good young player. So I can take Benedict Mulford out of Arizona, small forward, 6'6", very good athlete, very talented player. I thought he played well in March Madness for Arizona, who is the second best team in all March Madness. So he goes 7th overall to the Blazers. 8th overall to New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans got some talent. You obviously they made the trade to get C.J. McCollum, shooting guard. They have Brandon Ingram at small forward. If Zion's healthy, we know what he can do. When it comes to the point guard position, obviously we know about Jose Alvarado. Obviously he's very funny. He's a great defender. But I'm not sure if he's a starter. They did draft Kira Lewis a year or two ago. They drafted him last year in the top 10, but he didn't show much as a rookie. He hasn't shown much of anything. And in the front court, they got Brandon Ingram. When healthy, they have Zion, and he should be healthy next year, it looks like. You got Jonas Valanciunas as well at center, so they don't really need a big guy. But the 8th pick, I think, could take one of the biggest wild cards in this draft. Shaedon Sharpe. He's a pretty big guard, combo guard. He didn't play a lot of college basketball, but he is extremely talented coming out of Kentucky. So I think the Pelicans take him. 9th overall is San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, the Spurs team is not, the Spurs teams of old with Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and David Robinson. They have not been nearly that over the last few years. They've had trouble even getting to the playoffs. We're barely even in the play-in tournament this past year. They already have a young point guard, Dejounte Murray, who I think is a budding star. They also have Lonnie Walker, another young guard who I thought had his best season yet last year. They got some other young guys in the front court like Devin Vassell's a former first-rounder. But down low, I think they're lacking a bit. You got Jakob Poeltl, a guy they got in the Kawhi Leonard trade, is a pretty good player. Kevin Johnson's a power forward, guy's a good rebounder. But they could use an upgrade from that. So why I had them taking Jalen Duren, a center out of Memphis, 6'10". I think Spurs could use a big guy. He averaged 12 points and 8 rebounds last year at Memphis. He's still just 19 years old. He's 6'10", 250, a big guy. His effective field goal percentage was 59%. I think he's very talented. I have him going 9th overall to the San Antonio Spurs. The 10th pick is the Washington Wizards. So the Wizards are an interesting team. So Bradley Beal, their star player, who's been rumored to them, for years. Are they going to trade him? Are they not going to trade him? Are they going to extend him? Are they going to trade him? Obviously, last year he thought about requesting a trade, decided to stay with the Wizards. Ended up getting hurt. Wizards had after a great start, ended up being a disappointment from there. Didn't even make the play-ins. Missed the playoffs entirely. Finished 12th in the Eastern Conference. So Bradley Beal said he's already made up his mind on whether he wants to be traded or stay with the Wizards, but he's keeping his decision to himself. So we do not know whether or not Bradley Beal will be playing for the Wizards this year or not. But for now that they have him, they got some wings that I like. They got a guy like Corey Kispert they drafted last year, a really good shooter. Denia Vija. They still have Rui Hachimura there. I'm not so sure Bradley Beal is going to want to be there anymore. I would not want to be there if I'm Bradley Beal. Honestly, I think it's different for both sides to move on. The Wizards are not going to be very good anytime soon. They're stuck in mediocrity. Maybe they'll be able to grab a 7 or 8 seed and grab a play-in spot in the Eastern Conference. But I don't see them ever finishing much higher than that with this team that they've assembled. So I'm taking AJ Griffin, who's a wing out of Duke. Can play shooting guard, and I think Bradley Beal will end up getting traded. This is it's tough to predict where they're going to go because if they trade Bradley Beal, I'm sure get probably 2 or 3 good young players back, plus some draft picks. We'll see what happens, but I think they possibly prepare for him getting traded, and they take AJ Griffin, who's a very good wing out of Duke. 11th overall is the New York Knicks. As a Knicks fan, I can tell you from first-hand experience, it was a very disappointing year last year, 2 years ago, in the 72-game season. Knicks came out of nowhere to finish 4th in the Eastern Conference. We're 10 games over 500. I thought they could do some really good things last year, but were a major disappointment. Everything went wrong last year. Didn't even make the playoffs. Finished just 37-45. They need a lot of help. There's a lot of decisions to be made this offseason. But mainly, they need some more guys that can shoot. They really need a point guard. I'm going with Johnny Davis, shooting guard out of Wisconsin. I'd rather them get a point guard. But the best point guard still available is probably Ty Washington out of Kentucky, who's a big mystery. Another guy who did not play a lot of college basketball. I think this is a little bit of a reach for him. So, I don't think that's the right move. Johnny Davis is a great player, absolute sharpshooter. Knicks do not have a lot of shooters. They thought last year by bringing in Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier, 2 guys they thought could create their own shot would really help. And, Fournier was inconsistent. Kemba Walker's career just fell apart, so it didn't work. The Knicks are going to have to, kind of reset a little bit and reevaluate some things. But a team, you look at guys that can shoot on that team. There's very few, pure shooters. I mean, Fournier's a good shooter, but he's not what he once was. Outside of that, there's, outside of RJ Barrett, Alec Burks can shoot, but he's a bench player. A man quickly can shoot, but he's inconsistent, still young. He's a point guard, not really a shooting guard. And there's just very few guys on my team that can shoot the basketball. And they made the playoffs as the 4th seed in the East a couple of years ago. With not a lot of shooters, but they also had the best defense in the NBA. Also, the East has gotten a lot tougher. And their defense, although last year their defense overall was still pretty good, it was not nearly what it was before it was the league's best unit. It was still ranked up there, but was not quite as consistent. So they get one of the best shooters in this draft, in my opinion, in Johnny Davis. 11th overall, Wisconsin. 12th overall, Oklahoma City Thunder are once again on the clock. And with Thunder, they went big guy at 2, getting Jabari Smith, one of the best players in the draft. Now they take a little bit of an unknown guy. They take Ousmane Dieng, small forward. He played overseas last year. He's very talented. He's 6'10", so he's versatile as a small forward. He's 6'10". He's 6'10", 250. They got 2 good young guards, like I said, in Shai and Josh Giddey. Now they got 2 young big men with I'm taking Jabari Smith and Pokasevsky. They have Luton Store, and they pick up another good young piece with Ousmane Dieng. 13th overall is the Charlotte Hornets. Probably have some breaking news. Kenny Atkinson, Warriors assistant coach and former head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, who originally had agreed to become the new head coach, decided to apparently change his mind and turn down the Hornets head coach offer, and he will not become the next head coach, and he will remain the assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors. So a very interesting move by Kenny Atkinson there. We're still looking for a new coach. Mike D'Antoni, former long-time NBA head coach, has been an assistant in the NBA since he left the Rockets a couple years ago. He is going to meet with Hornets owner Michael Jordan, I think, today. I think they'll probably name him the head coach. I think he was the other finalist for the Hornets job. But Hornets got a couple of young players. They got some young guards I like, such as Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, as well as James Bouknight, who they drafted last year. You got some other good players. You got Miles Bridges, who had a great year last year, small forward. When healthy, Gordon Hayward's a good player. Being said, they could use an upgrade at center. You drafted Kai Jones in the first round last year, a little bit later in the first round, but he's still not a proven commodity yet. So I think you take Mark Williams, center, out of Duke. He's 6'10", 242, average 11 points, 7 rebounds. Effective field goal percentage was 72% last year. He's a very talented young center. I have him going 13th to the Hornets. 14th overall to round up the lottery and finish off this mock draft. The Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs have a very good young team who, when they're healthy, I think could be a force in the East. You got two good young guards in Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. You got some wings I like, such as Isaac Okoro. You got some big guys I like, such as Laurie Marketing and Jared Allen, as well as Evan Mobley, who was a Rookie of the Year finalist last year. So Cleveland's got young talent all over the roster. Karis LeVert you picked up in a trade last year. So they're a really good team who I think could easily be a top 5 team in the East next year. But Cleveland at this point should just take the best player available. And also, there's been talks with them possibly trading Colin Sexton, which I think is very possible since Darius Garland has proved that he's an all-star level player. If you trade him, they can probably get a lot back for him, get some more draft capital, and get even more young pieces to continue to build their team. So I have them taking Malachi Branham, shooting guard of Ohio State, could replace Colin Sexton as the 2 guard if he gets traded. And I think at this point, it's just the best player available. So that is my 2022 NBA mock draft. NBA draft is Thursday night. Don't miss it. Shifting gears now to NHL Stanley Cup Final. Game 3 was last night. Tampa Lightning finally get a game and basically saved their season. They blew up the Carl Avalanche 6-2. They cut the Carl Avalanche's series down to 2 games to 1. Game 4 is going to be tomorrow at 8 o'clock on ABC as well as ESPN+. The series remains in Tampa. Colorado looks to go 4 games to 1, and they can go back. If so, they can go back home and win Game 5. Tampa looks to tie the series and do what they did against the Rangers, lose the first 2, but then sweep it home and then steal one on the road and then come back home and win Game 6. That's probably what they're looking to do right now, but Colorado still is 2 games to 1. Game 4 will be tomorrow night. And we got some NHL head coach news. The Edmonton Oilers officially named their interim coach, Jay Woodcroft, the full-time head coach. They gave him a 3-year extension. And there's been a little bit of confusion when it comes to the Chicago Blackhawks head coach. They fired Jeremy Coalition very early on in the season after a really bad start. There was a rumor that came out that Calgary Flames assistant coach Ryan Huska was being named our next head coach. That being said, no deal has been reached yet. The situation is still fluid, and they are still looking for a new head coach, but it appears Ryan Huska is definitely in the mix since the report had come out that he had been named the head coach, but he has not been named the head coach yet. The Blackhawks are still searching. As for MLB, scores from yesterday, Mets over the Marlins 6-0, Pirates over the Cubs 12-1, Yankees over the Rays 4-2, Red Sox over the Tigers 5-2, Braves over the Giants 2-1, Brewers over the Cardinals 2-0. That's a big series. Those 2 teams came in tied for first in the Central. Brewers, of course, now a game ahead. White Sox over the Blue Jays 8-7, Royals over the Angels 6-2, Padres over the Diamondbacks 4-1. That's what we got for MLB. Before we wrap up the show, of course, the Deshaun Watson suspension is looming over the NFL and the Cleveland Browns. The plaintiff's lawyer and Patrick just said Tortorella was hired. Yes, Patrick, I did mention that yesterday or a day or 2 ago. Philadelphia Flyers hired John Tortorella as the next head coach. Tortorella's been around for a while. He was coach. He won a cup years ago in Tampa. He was coach of the Rangers. A short stint in Vancouver. Was most recently with the Columbus Blue Jackets. But yeah, Philadelphia Flyers brought in John Tortorella. Still a couple of head coach openings. Of course, the Blackhawks are one of them. Before I wrap up, the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is that the plaintiff's lawyer in the sexual misconduct case with Deshaun Watson, that 20 of the 24 sexual assault lawsuits against Deshaun Watson have been settled. So I'm not sure if that will affect his NFL suspension. I'm hearing NFL's pushing to get him a year, but that's what happened. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.